There are so many simple and fun ways to watercolor your stamped images. And when it comes to card making, one of my favorite techniques involves using regular ink and an aqua painter to spread the color. Hi, it's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this episode of Stamptastic TV, I will show you how to watercolor stamped images simply by using regular ink, water, and a brush. By the end of this video, you will learn how to watercolor your stamped images and make a beautiful sunflower card. For the latest card making ideas, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click on that little bell so you will be notified each time I upload a new video. Okay, so let's start by talking about the supplies that you will need. For this watercoloring tutorial, I will be featuring the Painted Harvest stamp set. This stamp set is perfect for creating sunflower cards. However, keep in mind that the tips I share today will work with any stamp set, so get creative with it. You will also need to cut a piece of early espresso cardstock at 4 1/4 by 11 inches. You will score the 11-inch side in the middle at 5 1/2 inches to create your card base. Since we are using a dark cardstock, you will also need to cut a piece of very vanilla cardstock for the inside of your card. This piece will be cut at 5 1/4 by 4 inches. You will need a 4 1/2 by 4 1/4 inch piece of crushed Curie cardstock. Next, you will need a 3 by 4 1/4 inch piece of watercolor paper. You can also use shimmery white cardstock, that would work just fine as well. 2 pieces of the Early Espresso polka dot pattern from the Neutrals DSP pack. These pieces should be cut at 1/2 by 4 1/4 inches. You will also need crushed Curie ink, so just your classic ink, as well as soft suede ink, some very vanilla trim, an aqua painter to do the watercoloring, a bone folder, and your scissors. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we are going to watercolor our images. So I have my watercolor paper here. I also need to choose one of the stamped images. So there's a couple different images that come in this set. I am going to choose this image, this more detailed image, to create my sunflower because we are going to pull color from this image and it will still keep the fine detail, but yet it will spread the color around like you see on this card here. So that's the image we're going to choose. So I'm going to start by opening up my ink. So I'm using crushed Curie. I'm going to stamp at least 3 sunflowers. So I'm going to stamp one kind of off to the side here. And you have to press a little bit harder because we're using watercolor paper to get a good stamped image. And then I'm going to stamp one off in the corner and one below. Now I'm going to take my aqua painter and just squeeze a little bit of water out just to kind of wet the tip of the brush. And I'm going to start on the inside and I'm just going to pull the color, and you'll see how it starts to pull that yellow color out. I'm just going to start from the inside and pull towards the outside. I'll go all the way around and pull all the color out, and as I'm pulling the color out, I'm going to do it kind of in a circular motion so that I can kind of create the round look of the flower. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to use my soft suede ink, and I want to create the center of the sunflower. So I'm just going to use the little stamped image from the set, the little round image that fits in the center. And I'm just going to stamp all of these. Now, I'm not going to clean the end of my aqua painter. I'm going to leave the yellow on there because as I go around, I'm going to pull the color. I'm going to pull some of the yellow and pull some of this soft suede or this brown around the flower to create the watercolored look. Okay, now we're just gonna let this dry. It should take about 10 to 15 minutes for it to dry, and then we will put the card together. Okay, now that our watercolored images are dry, let's move on to the next step. So we want to stamp a sentiment. So I'm gonna use my soft suede ink, and I'm gonna use the little sentiment from the Painted Harvest set. And I'm just gonna ink that up and stamp it on the bottom. So we're gonna start out by adhering these little pieces across the bottom and the top of each side of the watercolor paper. And then since we're working with smaller pieces of designer paper, by putting the adhesive on, now I can just take this and just line it up with my designer paper and then just push this down. And it makes a nice clean edge on your paper. And we're gonna do the same thing on the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to adhere this piece to the top of the crushed Curie cardstock so that I leave just a little bit of matting on the top, and I'm gonna leave a little bit more on the bottom here so that I can tie my little bow across the bottom of the cardstock. Okay, so now I'm going to tie my Very Vanilla trim on the bottom of the cardstock. So now we're ready to put this on the card. There you go, that's it. Now don't forget to add the piece of Very Vanilla cardstock on the inside of your card so that you can stamp your sentiment or write a message or whatever you want to do on the inside. How simple was that? Now that you know how to watercolor stamped images, the possibilities are endless. Just think of all the fabulous cards you can make with all the ink that you have on hand right now in your craft room. So now it's time to get busy making some beautiful cards. And if you enjoyed this tutorial, be sure to pop on over to my website at stamptasticdesigns.com for even more fun card ideas. Today I am featuring some additional sunflower card ideas created with the Painted Harvest set. You can find the link below this video. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by liking it, sharing it with your friends, and leave a comment below to let me know what you enjoyed most about the video and the tips shared here today. Have fun getting creative. Take care, and I'll see you soon.